Today I compiled 10 of my album reviews of the Rolling Stone 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list. I really like the beats on this album. Today I listened to album 470, Juvenil's 1988 album 400 Degrees. Manny Fresh has a knack for making delightful, joyful melodies with keyboards, 808s, and synths to provide the structure for MCs to rap over. On a few tracks, such as Welcome to the Nolia and Rich Emeralds, he indulges in long outros to show off an instrumental he's really proud of. Besides production, Fresh is also one half of the Big Timers with Rahul Birdman, whose most important feature was in the hype opening intro, Big Timers. Other guest stars include BG, Turk, and up-and-comer Lil Wayne, but 3/4 of the group, the Hot Boys, along with Juvenile. Juvenile is really the problem with this album for me. He's got distinctive robbery flow, especially on Big Hit Heart, but I'm irritated by his slurring all his words, necessitating repeated visits to Genius.com to decipher his lyrics. A different Body Positivity anthem backed that ass up, very endearing though. Overall, 400 Degrees is way too long, a version of Heart on one album, but when Manny Fresh is in his game and Juvenile can ride the grooves without getting in the way, the album is getting pretty good. 2.8 out of 5. Today I listened to album 469, Manu Chao's 1988 album Clandestino. For an American music publication, this seems like a European pick. Chao was quite a big deal in Europe for a few years, where self-assured Latin folk acoustic strumming and fluid multilingualism stand equally at home in Barcelona, Rome, and Paris. At the same time, the album considers the Prussian international issue, the position of clandestinos, aka illegal immigrants, which is a hot topic issue nowhere more than the US. The biggest problem with appreciating Chao is how easy he makes it all sound. The simple reduction is apparently recorded on a laptop. Makes it sound like a weed-smoking street busker, and belies his talent at crafting pop hooks and subtle intricate lyrics in 3 different languages. The high point of the album must be the seamless transition between the English language bongo bong and francophone je ne t'aime plus. I would recommend this album. It's well crafted, but the relaxed vibe make it more suitable for drinking a glass of wine in Madrid to than everyday listening. 3.2 out of 5. Today I listened to album 468, the Rolling Stones' 1958 album Some Girls. They're one of the biggest commercial forces of the 60s, achieved their highest critical acclaim in the 70s, but in the 80s they were no longer artistically relevant. Thus, this is the Stones' last hurrah. The Rolling Stones were always a bit of a cosplay band, and this is on full display on the 14th/16th album. The disco band that Miss You, like Chic, or probably more like Wild Cherry. They do a respectable imitation of punk and respectable, and they're almost too faithful to an MOR country band on Faraway Eyes. Lyrically, they sparked a money for nothing style debate, where the parodying stereotypes only strengthened their power on the title track. They were more viciously satirical about the evangelicals in Bakersfield on Faraway Eyes. But I like the Stones best when imitating a blues rock band. When the whip comes down, it's my favorite song. 4 out of 5. I'm not sure how to feel about this album. Today I listened to album 467, Maxwell's 2009 album Black Summer's Night. Maxwell is a perfectly capable singer with a well-controlled falsetto, and the instrumentation is very pretty throughout. The instrumental closer, Phoenix Rise, is one of my favourite songs on this record. The songs really connect with me. Apparently it took Maxwell 8 years to write 8 unfocused, confused lyric sheets. Perhaps you would call that nuance. Indeed, Rolling Stone magazine said this album was about love, not just sex, for grown-ups who know the difference. And maybe I've just not grown up enough for this record. In any case, I thought Help Somebody was a highlight. The nice sense of tension built by the digital harpsichord, let down a little by the cheesy horns on the chorus. But it's clear this album is just not for me. 2 out of 5. Today I listened to album 466, Black Uhuru's 1981 album Red. Rolling Stone's really taken a pickaxe to reggae over the past couple of years. Just look at Bob Marley. 2003, 5 Marley records made the list, went down to only 3 in 2020. The latest mini update, another sacrifice. You should get this album as a replacement of sorts. Now I don't know that much about reggae, so I can't comment too deeply on the quality of Red. I do know that legendary reggae and dub producers Sly and Robbie were involved, which probably how this album successfully straddles the line between repetitive and consistent. Supposedly, this album has more electronic influences. I don't really hear that, so maybe it's in the high production quality where Sly and Robbie's influence is most felt. I don't know any patois either, so I don't know what they're singing about. Probably my least informative review yet, but I like the record. 2.9 out of 5. Today I listened to album 465, a 2003 compilation of King Sunny Ade's music between 1967 and 74 entitled The Best of the Classic Years. My second foray into African pop music on this list is a great contrast to the previous one. This time when dealing with a superstar, the King of Juju, rather than a fairly anonymous group of apartheid-era South African musicians. But the instrumental beat of Soweto was an unexpected contemporary breakthrough when it was released, whereas this compilation is scribbling the back catalogue of a beloved artist whose Western breakthrough was 20 years prior. This makes an unusual inclusion in this ranking, I think, because it's much less accessible than Ade's 80s work. Songs are very long. The 80-minute synchro system blows previous record holder's Suicide out of the water, and astonishingly rhythmically complex. Luckily, Ade's sweet, gentle tenor is there to act as a tour guide through his fascinating polyrhythms. This album also seems more suited to communal listening in private, so perhaps the next time your friend ill-advisedly puts you in charge of the music, why not play synchro system and blow their minds? 3.3 out of 5. Today I listened to album 464, the Isley Brothers' 1973 album 3+3. You ever see that video where David Bowie challenges an MTV presenter on their officially unofficial no black musicians policy? The presenter claims that black musicians just aren't important today in the 80s, but artists like the Isley Brothers may have had to him and Bowie, not to white teenagers in the Midwest. Bowie points out that the Isley Brothers are important to millions of black teenagers, who surely count as much as white Midwestern teens. Anyway, the Isley Brothers were initially a vocal trio, but expanded to become a full band with their 11th album, where they blend soulful singing, funk instrumentals, and rock guitar solos. The guitar playing is what really piqued my interest, especially the absurd, beautiful solo which calls out That Lady and the livened up cover of Summer Breeze. The remaining songs are passable soul funk song. What it comes down to is probably the only lyrically interesting song. I wonder MTV thought disqualified black artists like the Isley Brothers from being on their TV station. Their soulful harmonies, their undulating bass lines, or their killer guitar solos. While MTV withers, this album stays great. 4 out of 5. Nero is more popular as a songwriter than an artist. Today I listened to album 463. Laura Nero's 1968 album Eli and the 13th Confession. Musicians like Blood, Sweat and Tears, Three Dog Night, and Barbra Streisand all had hits with Nero pen songs. In the fifth dimension practically built their career on the work of Nero, even naming their third album Stone Soul Picnic, a song on this very album. It's very possible to have a successful career as a songwriter and a musician. Carole King worked for years as a songwriter before creating a solo masterpiece. All the hits Nero wrote were covered by other bands. None of the songs Nero sang charted on Billboard Hot 100, and Eli and the 13th Confession only made it to 181 on the album chart. Other influential people liked Nero, so why didn't the general public? It's probably just because she's a weird woman. She combined jazz with pop, she's a very emotive singing voice, she sang about women and sex in an ambiguous way. None of this was acceptable in the 60s, and inspired generations of weird women. Tori Amos, Kate Bush, and Cyndi Lauper, so we are all in her debt. 2.7 out of 5. Today I listened to album 462, Flying Burrito Brothers' 1969 album The Gilded Palace of Sin. A landmark album of country rock, Gilded Palace of Sin is characterized by its close harmonies, trembling pedal steel guitar, and a preoccupation with sin and spirituality. Hard to know how sincere the latter is. The Devil and Christian's tune is likely a metaphor. The appeal to Jesus' love on Hot Burrito No. 2 is on second listen, clearly an appeal for secular love, but the concern with sin, as on Sin City, seems real. Perhaps this arises from a combination of taking drugs and latent guilt around taking said drugs. I speculate only because of the poppies and marijuana emblazoned on the suits on the cover. As per usual, I gravitate toward the more upbeat numbers, especially the opener Christine's tune, while Graham Parsons and Chris Hillman swap lead vocal duties, come together in close harmony in the chorus. I find My Uncle too silly to enjoy. Otherwise, the songs are unsurprisingly a little country-ish, so enjoyment of the album will depend on your tolerance toward country cliches. A solid effort nonetheless. 3.2 out of 5. Today I listened to album 461, Bon Iver's 2007 album For Emma Forever Ago. I briefly discussed summary albums, so it feels fitting now to turn to a record which embodies winter. Winter sounds like spare acoustic instrumentation and a choir of murmuring falsettos, delicate enough to not disturb the tranquil peace of a December morning. Justin Vernon famously wrote this song during a 3-month stay in his father's hut in the Wisconsin wilderness where he hunted his own food. A backstory which really gives a depressed guy whimpering about his breakup rawness. For Emma Forever Ago was certainly influential. A time when autotune was thought to be the death of music, Vernon realized it could enhance the pain and loneliness of his lyrics. When Alex Jones's insane rants were turned into an indie folk song in 2019, Bon Iver was a clear inspiration. Songs like Creature Fear, which reminded me of the funeral band of horses, and Smash It, Skinny Love are pretty great. If I went into self-imposed exile in the Wisconsin wilderness, I wouldn't last a week. But for Vernon to compose a pretty good album at the same time is impressive. 3.2 out of 5. Join me soon for another album review. Like, share, comment and subscribe.